Welcome back to Gale Force Winds Season 4.
The Gale Force Winds podcast is proudly sponsored by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association. The NLCA provides unparalleled opportunities for its members through industry education, construction information, government advocacy, and networking events. The NLCA is building Newfoundland and Labrador. For more information, visit nlca.ca. Hello, folks. Welcome to a very special edition of Gale Force Winds. My name is Jerry Carew. Along with Alan Dale, as you know, we founded Gale Force Winds way back in December of 2020. Since then, we've recorded over 1,000 interviews, many of which you may not have seen because they are done for businesses around the world and they reside primarily on those businesses' socials. However, we do have many playlists on our YouTube channel, Gale Force Winds on YouTube, that you can find them. Ultimately, on Tuesday evenings, we publish inspirational conversations. That's where we got our start. And every now and then we find along the way at trade shows some people that are incredibly inspirational. Well, folks, what you're about to hear are inspirational conversations that we had with the Keats family. The first up is Allan Keats. So Allan was a prospector, or still is a prospector in Newfoundland, Labrador. They come from a long line of prospectors that stretches all the way back to their great-great-grandfather. In 1969, Noranda opened an office in Gander, and Allan and his dad, Ted, thought that the company might be interested in a lost silver mine. And frankly, they were very smart in talking to Ted and Allan. I'm just going to read something that came off the Prospectors Association of Canada website. In 2007, Ted and Allan Keats for the Keats-Stares prospecting family received the Bill Dennis Award for a Canadian discovery or prospecting success. The 4 generations of this Newfoundland family have all been involved in prospecting. Ted, the father, was involved in the discovery of the Point Leamington, Burnt Pond, and Tally Pond zones. Sons Al, Calvin, Fred, and Suley followed in their father's footsteps. Al worked with his father on the Point Leamington and Tally Pond discoveries and also discovered Duck Pond and Winter Hill. Calvin has worked all over the world, discovering South Golden Promise and numerous uranium showings in Labrador. Fred discovered a 36-ounce ton VG boulder on the Appleton Linear for Noranda, now optioned to Paragon. Suley discovered the Beaver Brook deposit with Calvin and has been looking for uranium in Labrador. The following generations, grandsons and great-grandsons, are all actively involved in prospecting. I can tell you this, Allan and I have met a lot of people all over the world. Allan and his son Kevin are incredibly inspiring. They have single-handedly been the reason that there many generations to come will have a opportunity to earn a living in the Gander area. Last year, when I interviewed Eric Sprott, who's one of the largest investors, he said that the find in Gander is potentially the largest find in Canada and significantly, possibly, the largest find in the world. Peter Dimmel, another legendary prospector, said this: I say prospectors have an advantage over geologists because they don't know scientifically what to look for. They look in all the wrong places and find all the right stuff. They just go out and see something different and bang on it, smack it with a hammer. That's how these guys worked. It's a sixth sense. You go in the woods and all the rocks look the same, but for some reason, one looks different to these guys and they break it. In this episode, you'll first see an episode I did last year at Central Minix 2023 with Allan Keats. And immediately following that, you'll see an interview that my co-partner did, Alan Dale, with Allan and his son Kevin at Central Minix 2024. Folks, these guys are the real deal. They have enhanced Newfoundland's economy like no one else. Please enjoy. Well, folks, here we are. We're back. We're on the floor of Central Minix 2023, and I am here with another very interesting prospector. His name is Allan Keats. And without further ado, Allan, could you introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Allan Keats from Benton, and I've been prospecting ever since '69. And I went to work with my dad. Actually, he wrote me to go to work there. And anyway, the end results, I was with them in Noranda for 28 years.
Yeah.
I was field foreman for 26, only at grade 8.
Yeah.
Anyway, the end results is, with this newfound goal, this is what created all this, I guess. And then I wouldn't work with Noranda then.
No.
Well, so, we did find some of the stuff. Like my brother found the highest grade boulder was found, but they were getting out. They had a couple of years looking for gold. He said, no, we had enough of that. So anyway, he left when Noranda left, and I stayed around, and that was one of the things I kept in my mind.
So you retired from Noranda, did you?
No. Well, they left in late '80s, and I went more or less on my own work for other people, right? But I also knew about this boulder my brother had found, and this is the end results right there now.
So the boulder your brother found would have been what, in the 80s or 70s?
It would have been in the 80s, yeah.
And you couldn't get it out of your head?
No.
You knew it was there?
Oh, yeah.
And did you often go back to look at it?
Oh, yeah, I went back and found what we found now.
Yeah.
Right? And we got other companies interested, and they did some drilling and really, I guess, ran out of money and stuff like that. And I don't know how many, I think it's the 5th company that we've optioned this off to. And the end result is this.
It's fascinating, and I don't know much about your industry. I spent 35 years in the advertising business. I know a little about a lot of industries, but this one I don't know a lot about. How would a company like Newfound, they just decided this is it? Like, why them and not someone else?
Well, I guess it was so much. Well, really, I guess one of the biggest gold mines in the world right now is in Australia, which is identical, the same age of rocks and everything. And I guess they were looking around, where can we find something like this? And this probably jumped right at them.
Yeah.
So, holy shit,
Well, how does it, sorry for interrupting you, it jumped out at them? Are you like posting, like how do you even match up companies?
Well, what I mean by that, like you can go to the government and know that we had gold there over the years, and what we had, the companies we had an option out to, what they drilled some holes, but it wasn't, good enough for them. But I guess this company looked at where in the world would you find something like this, and I guess they looked at this, and lo and behold, the last company, the company before those, had drilled a hole, and they ended up coloring. Well, they drilled a little bit, and then they struck the quartz on with visible gold, and then they had all lost core where the rocks was all fractured, and it ended up then at the end when they went to the sediments, they had gold again in it. So in between that, those guys must have said, "Now what's in between there?" Which they did.
Yeah.
That's what they said. And they optioned the ground, and this is history. And they went to the drilling companies in Springdale and said, "Have you got a drill?" "Yep." And I want the best drillers you got, and I want no lost core. And this is the end results.
Did you go out when the drilling was happening, or no?
Well, actually, I think they give me the coordinates, everything, to go and spot the hole.
Right.
Which I did, and I think it was off a bit because I got Stone Age equipment. But anyway, it ended up maybe one of the guys might have moved to pick it when they drilled. But anyway, it was the best hole, one of the best holes in Newfoundland.
And possibly the world, I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Allan, what does it mean to you to be part of something so special to the province?
It means a lot.
Yeah.
It means even like to Dad, like I said, he got mad at me. "Come on, let's go up there." And I was always sort of shy, which I don't know good for this, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, he talked me into it, and this is not the only one I was instrumental in finding. I found the boulders. Well, I went to work in '69. In '70, I was silting the brook. Never had no rock hammer, only the bags, and I don't think we even had one of those small ones, because we was taking the sand and the brook, putting it in a bag and sending it to the lab. And I found this boulder because that spring we worked up by the old Garbage mine, and Noranda had some couple claims there, and we used to visit the old mine, and I took some rocks from there. So anyway, in saying that, I went to work and walking the brook, taking silt, and I seen this cankery, rusty looking stuff.
Yeah.
I picked it up, I banged it together, and it turned out to be massive sulfite, the same as the one in Galbraith. I said, gee, this is the weight of it, never didn't know much about it then. So anyway, I brought it back to the boss. He said, where'd you get that to? And I said, in there in the brook. He said, God, he said, you brought that from the old mine. He said, just as full of. I said, I found that in the brook. Well, he said, I got to go. He just had come from Gander, and we were in Lewis Lake then. Yeah. He said, I got to go back to Gander. And I said, what do you mean? He said, never mind. He said, you found that there, can you use a mortar? I said, it looks like a mortar, boy, but I said, I never had a hammer or nothing, right? And he said, well, he said, I'll go see what the boss got to say. But back to Gander, sure enough, he said when he came back, I think that was, he came back and Monday morning, he said, you got to stay here. The chopper be here a little bubble at first whenever I had a ride in. The boss be here to pick you up. He said, can you land there where you found the boulders? I said, oh yeah, there's a little bog right there and you just got to walk down over to the rise. And good enough. So anyway, around 10 or 11 o'clock, he first showed up, just a tree filler sitting in the front of her. And away we go, went in, and then he had the hammer and we found.
Yeah.
So that led to the Point Leamington deposit, and make the short story short. And I think the first drill hole was one anomaly there. That Brennix had the air barn. They had the ground option of Brennix. I think it was Brennix now. But anyway, the first drill hole went to 280 feet. And it was actually the biggest deposit of copper, lead, and zinc on his lower grade, still sitting there. And then in '75, I think it was '75, we got the ground up around Millertown, which was the same thing as the Buckins stuff. And I found the boulder that was pushed up by the road the price had put in there. And the end results of that one was the duck palm mine. And
You've got to, would you call it luck, or you work hard, obviously?
You work hard, and you got to have somebody guiding your steps too.
Yeah.
You got to know the words to say.
But when you hear back on the most recent one and they do the drill and it's, I can't remember the numbers, but where do you remember where you were standing when the call came to you and said, here's the numbers? Do you remember that?
I don't know, because really, I know it was something good, I got ass and names I'm no good for, right? But I know I got it, And it's been good, and you got to believe. You got to believe.
Allan, this show is full of optimism, and I think to be a prospector, you need to be optimistic, I think, don't you?
Oh, definitely. Never give up.
No.
Dad always said that. Never give up. And like I said, I only had a grade 8.
Wow.
I was field foreman, went around for 26 years.
Were you a natural born leader? Is that why you ended up in that, do you think?
I don't.
Hard worker.
Hard worker. I tried to be honest. I mean, you know, sometimes you slipped up and stuff like that, But in the end result, you try to do the best you can, right? And never give up. That's the thing, right?
If someone is, say, 20, 22, 23, 25, recent graduate, thinking about this industry, what advice would you give them, Allan, besides never give up, which is incredible advice?
It's like when you're coming back to the truck, and you know, you're tired, and usually when you see like a knob sticking up in the woods, over when you're looking for gold and stuff like that, that could be quartz because the ice never cut it down. Now, am I going to get to the truck half an hour earlier, and even though it might be after 5 o'clock, you say, well, I just got to go and check that. And when you get that feeling, go and do it. Because if you don't, you'll be sorry. Somebody else will find it. So never, that's the word, never give up. And it's not because you're going to be late or anything like that. And the feeling, like I said, I had a fella come in my garage there, the little house we built there, and doing my electricity, and he said, "You made my father a millionaire." What do you mean?
Is that right?
He said, "You was instrumental in finding a duck pond." I said, "Yeah, I found a boulder that led to it." Well, he said, "My father saw all the safety gear there, and you made my father a millionaire." And you know something? It made me feel something good. And you got to feel good, not only for yourself, for other people too, and all to look around.
Well, Allan, you know what? It's an absolute pleasure to be sitting in front of you and listen to that. I know Peter Dimmel was here a few moments before you, and he said that he's told that there may be finds in Newfoundland for the next 50 years. So the future is incredibly bright in the mining industry.
I can tell you, if I don't die and don't get really sick, you're going to hear more from that.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
You're not giving up.
Oh, no.
How many years have you been in the industry?
And I'm the type of guy, say, from 69.
Yeah.
I'm the type of guy, I don't want everything. I just want part of the pot.
Yeah.
And I want credit for what I just told you. And that credit comes from somebody else when he said, "You made my father a millionaire."
Yeah. Is it, when you go to sleep at night, you rest easy on the pillow?
You do.
You do, yeah.
You do.
Well,
I'm not saying I'm perfect. Oh, no, nobody is perfect. Only one nailed you to the cross.
well, look, I'm excited to be here. I mean, we're sitting probably on a gold deposit right now, right? And the eyeballs are on Newfoundland because of you and Peter and the others like you.
That's another thing I got to mention too. Like Peter Dimmel, he was with me pretty well right to the end, from the start to the end.
Yeah. And
not only Peter Dimmel, Norm Mercer, and Wayne Reed, and that's the geologist. They taught me more about, and I was always asking questions. Sometimes might have been a bit stupid, but they said, "Look, this is what you got to look for, and this way," and I had the instinct anyway, and the wood part of it, you know, like being a Micmac, I suppose, right? And it all came together.
Let me ask you this, Allan. When you're out for a walk, do you ever have a normal walk? Have you ever noticed the sky, or is it always eyes down on the rocks?
You know something? It's funny you mentioned that. My dream would be to land on the moon.
Is that right?
Or something like that, because I believe so much, and I believe in the Creator and everything else too. But there's something missing. But I can't tell you what I've seen and done. Some things, we wouldn't believe it in. There's lots out there that maybe we should believe in.
Well, folks, Allan Keats is here with us. He's just shared a little inkling. 13 minutes of heaven, I would say. It's so exciting to be here and listen to someone who wants to go to the moon. Maybe he'll end up on Mars with Elon Musk. I don't know. But it's been a pleasure, Allan. Thank you for joining us on Gale Force Winds.
Thank you.
Are you two guys related?
We sure are.
What?
Father and son.
You look alike.
No.
What?
No, we don't. Father and son.
Which one's over? Okay, guys, we're going to start now.
Boy, you have good compliments.
Hi, I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Winds, and I got to tell you what a pleasure it is to be here at Central Minex 2024 in the beautiful town of Gander, Newfoundland. I got to tell you, a lot of great conversations been happening in and around the show floor. Thanks to our good friends at Raleigh Drilling Services for having the vision to bring everybody into a conversation. They understand that everybody's voices matter here, and if we're going to lift this entire sector, everybody's voices count. Fellas, why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves? Maybe start, Sue.
My name is Kevin Keats. I'm actually, this is my dad, Allan, and we've been at the prospecting sector, industry, whatever you want to call it, for the last 50 years or more, 6, 7 generations of our family. and this has been a fun ride with Newfound Gold and rally drilling. You know, I work with them daily. It's been fun. Been a fun ride.
How about yourself, sir?
Well, my name is Allan Keats, and I'm Kevin's father. And I guess it's just something that I got onto my great-great-grandfather, Suley Joel. I found mineral from Bay Despair, and he used to trap across to Port Labrador, and in his routes, I guess he found that mineral, and nobody ever found it. We went looking for it, but it ended up that there was a mining company that came to Gander, and my father and me went up and told him about this, and meanwhile, this is history, I guess, but the artisan, and I guess this is about the third deposit that I've been involved in, and the Duck Pond mine, and the one before that, Point Leamington, bigger than there, one of them just lower grade, and now this one, so I got one more to go, and I had fun.
This is a multi-generational journey you fellas are on. I mean, it goes way back.
Oh, absolutely. It goes right back to great-great-grandfather Suley Joe, who, as Dad said, was full Micmac Indian, was a trapper, found silver on his trap line, didn't know what he had, knew he had mineral, took it to somebody, showed him, they assayed it and went from there, and then, as Dad said, they went and got the job, and then from there, we've, as times changed, we got some family members that were a little more smarter, I want to call it, in the business side, and then they started staking claims, going out prospecting on their own, selling the claims to mining companies, and learning how to do option deals with companies and things like that. And then they learned this in Ontario, came back to Newfoundland, told Dad, myself, and all other family members, and then we said, yeah, we can do this too.
Right.
So me and Dad tracked many a ground, staked many claims. My younger brother, Suley, was with us many times. My nephews, now my sons, both work for Newfound Gold. My cousins, they got multiple public companies trading on the Toronto Stock Exchange. I was involved with one for 13 years, ran it, formed it, co-former, I should say. You know, just a great whole story, and Dad always says he would never change a thing. Never change a thing. It was such a fun ride, and it's still more to come, you know.
Dad, from your point of view, what does it feel like to look back, you know, when you were young and your granddad and your dad going through this, and now watching it permeate to your son and your grandkids? How's that feel? You're right in the middle of all of this.
I just can't explain it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just unbelievable. And I might add, like when I started out, Dad couldn't read nor write, and I only had grade 8. But I ended up, I guess he guided me steps, or somebody did. And like I said, I went to work in '69 with Noranda. I was with him for 28 years. I was field foreman for 26, and this is the end results.
Wow. So, fellas, tell us about some of the big significant finds and what that's turned into in this room today.
Okay, well, for me, the biggest find is in this room today is to be able to still sit here with my dad.
Yeah, me.
I was a kid. He put me in the backpack and trekked me through the woods.
Go on.
I'm serious.
Really?
And then he would get tired, and he'd say, "Okay, you got to get out now, and you got to walk." So I'd walk. Then I'd say, "Dad, my legs are tired."
Yeah.
And to be able to sit here and see this in my hometown, where I went to high school and the elementary school, my peers, to be able to sit here with my dad, is the best success story of it all.
The best find of all.
Oh, it's the best one.
Better than any gold in the ground, right there.
Back to the other side, the Newfound Gold. You know, right now we don't know how much gold is there, but we know there's a lot of gold. Mm-hmm. And it all started from my uncle Fred, who worked for Noranda as well, discovered some gold. And at the same time, Noranda was getting out of gold, leaving the province. And Fred kept it in his mind, and of course it went, the crown, the land reverted back to the crown. It came open, and the ground came open, and it got into a big staking dispute. This company said they got it, this one got it. long story short, after say 10 years, it got awarded to a company that was defunct. Sat there, and then my dad noticed that it was coming open.
No, excuse me for cutting in there. Norm Mercer sent me a map, and he was working with the government, and he knew about the boulder and that. And he said, "El, do you realize this is coming open?" And I wasn't much good at that, and I think I might have been working with somebody else. Kevin was with Fort Knox, and we phoned Peter Dimmel, and Peter Dimmel's taking it.
That's right. So Norm gave me the map. I bought it home from working out on the Avalon with this gold company, Fort Knox Gold, and we bought the map out, and Dad said, "Yep, it's coming open." So we, like you said, we called Peter Dimmel. We said, "We want you to claim this for us, and we'll cut you in three ways, 33.33% each." And that's what we did. That was 1998.
Wow.
We sold the ground 5 times, 5 different companies, option agreements.
Yeah.
They couldn't meet the requirements of the agreement, so they would have to give us back the claims. They gave us back the claims, and we go to Toronto, Vancouver, to the mining shows, and little small town betting boy, and his dad, tracking the floor, and we sell them again. And finally, we sold them to Newfound Gold, and what had happened there, I think there was another prospector, Gary Lewis, had attracted the Newfound Gold management to Newfoundland, and was telling them about properties, told them about ours. They came, visited us, and Dad sold them the story, and they took the ground. They went out, they drilled, and they hit some of the best grades ever in Newfoundland for sure. Canada, probably, competing with the world.
Wow.
Which turned into hundreds of $1 million spent, turned into this show, and who would ever thought a Minex show, sold out show, would be in Gander, thanks to my uncle's boulder back in the day, because that's where it all started, that boulder. It's my uncle Fred.
We were with Noranda then, and they had a couple of years because they wouldn't even ask for gold because they were a base metal, copper, lead, and zinc, right?
Yeah. You're sold it 5 times, you were pushing, going, you were beating the street, trying to move this thing. Did you ever say we're giving up on this?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
You knew right away.
We knew. Me and him sat many times, have a beer, have a drink, say, it's out there. We know it's out there. We're going to find it.
Yeah.
And what had happened was all the other companies did great work, but they had budgets, they had money constraints, right? So they could only do so much. So this last company, which was Newfound Gold, and at the time it wasn't Newfound Gold, it was a company called Palisade, but the same management.
Right.
They said, okay, well, we're not going to test this target because that's been done. We're not going to do this because this company done that, XYZ done this thing. So they actually looked at one set of data and said, man, there's a lot of gold there, and but there's a lot of lost core in the sample.
They drill, they
lose it.
Lose the core and grind it, like that.
So they picked up on that.
That was the gold zone.
That was the main Keats zone. They picked up on this ground core and lost core, so they went back and redone it at a different approach.
Yeah.
Sure enough, there it was.
Recovered the core. Told the drillers now, boys, you will get bonus for not pushing, right?
What did that feel like for you guys then, when you knew that, okay, this is going to go?
I'll tell you, for me, I'll tell you where I was. I was sitting in an excavator at Syncrude on reclamation.
Okay.
When I got the call that they had hit, and I'm like, yes. And as we got more into it over the years, and myself and Dad, Peter, we talked, and we optioned a lot of ground over the years to different companies. And when we'd option the ground, you get promised the world. But when you sign on the dotted line, some of the companies weren't so nice, and okay, thank you, see you later.
Yeah.
So then I'd sit home and I'd have to go to Alberta then for work because they would hire their guys. So I said to Dad and Peter one day, I said, no more. I'm putting a clause in the agreement that it's going to protect us. If there's any work we're capable of doing at competitive prices, we get to do it. We're not going away. Look, I'm putting somebody else in our backyard. We put the clause in, and Newfound Gold honored it right from day one. We said, listen, we will. You guys are part of this.
Right.
We're going to make this happen.
Yeah. And
so it's not only the deal we did, with them. I've since my company is Gundu Resources, which is a Halibu registered company. We are First Nations. We're proud of it. I've had as high as 48 employees in the last 3 years. I'm still at 25. I have excavators, dump trucks, so I've diversified and said, okay, I have kids, right? I have grandkids. I want to make sure I build something for them, like my dad's dream was with me and my brother. And my brother has been with us and he's on his way back to work with us, and just so much, you know.
You know, but say, it's not good now. But anyway, you know, we had fun and we worked.
You worked hard at it, right? You found it, you stuck with it. Yeah. Perseverance paid off, and you set boundaries. Said, look, we're going to do this work, and not because you necessarily needed the work, but you knew what was important, that this whole family unit.
Well, who best to have there? The one who's been tramping over the ground all the time. You know me.
Yeah. What I was about to say, I don't know. I believe I heard somebody say last year, I don't know, or the year before, that Newfoundland Gold was the biggest employer in Gander.
Wow. It was. It probably still is today outside, saying government.
Right. What does that feel like, guys, to know that you're making that kind of a contribution right here? Like you said, second year of Minex, sold out show, business being done, investment happening, because your uncle's rock. Unbelievable.
It's crazy.
Isn't it?
Crazy, isn't it, Dad? We talk about it.
No.
I know.
And again, like, there's more to come.
There
is more to come.
Because you got great grandkids.
Yeah, no.
Well, not only us. We got family members right over here. There's Bench Resources, you know, with a copper deposit. Yeah. That's Dad's nephew.
Yeah.
He's drilling off a copper deposit right now down by St. Albans. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's one of the best things.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Oh. So there's more to come. Dad, as we talked about, our sponsor here, which is Raleigh, has met with Dad, and Dad got an idea of something he's been touting every day. I go up to have whether I pick up my dog, drop off my little dog, or I go up to see him. We got to drill this hole. We got to drill this hole. Drilling is not cheap. You know, drilling is expensive. But if you can get someone to come in and partner up with your ideas, which Raleigh now, because of my Uncle Fred's boulder, now your dad can go drill a dream, because that's where it all stemmed from, right? You can't forget where this came from. And I want to go back to Uncle Fred's boulder, and we use this quite a bit. Our family's gifted. We worked hard. We sacrificed a lot.
Nobody gave you enough. I can remember lugging logs on this back of butter making pads when Dad had a sawmill when I quit school.
Yeah. But we had the best teachers ever.
Normers.
So we never had the university education, but we had the field smarts, and we had the smarts. Dad would always say, "Kev, look at this on the map. Look at these lakes. How come they're lined up in a line like that, and all the rest are round?" I'd say, "That's a fault. You know, we got to go in there, check the government geochem and see if there's any lake sediments." Hey, Dad would, and we get look. Oh my God, Dad, there's a 4 ppb gold in the lake here, and there's a 3 in this one, and there's a 2 in this one, and that's our line. We need to. So that's a fault, Kevin. We need to go. We'd identify them things, and we had no education for this, right? And we get in there, and sure enough, we discover something, and the whole family is gifted like it. Like, it's amazing how we done it. But we'd always go back to our teachers, which was Peter Dimmel, Norm Mercer, Wayne Reed, Dave McDonald, and Dan Lee. The list just Tim Froud. Hey, we'd be
up by some night time. You just go over, man. What do you think? And everybody would ask me, and I'm easy going, And I got a way about me getting people to do something without even asking, but just by cutting my cost.
Well, you guys are, I mean, it's clear that you're at one with the land around you. You're completely in touch with the land, right?
Yeah. Oh, people, definitely.
Right? People talk about that. They don't quite understand it. You're at one with the land.
I'm walking, and Peter Dimmel, I don't know if you did the interview.
We did.
Peter Dimmel, me and he'd be walking along a beach down in when I found the boulder that led to that deposit, Tractor had pulled them up, Price put a road in there, logging, And we were walking around. I said, "Peter, there's a boulder out there." I said, the palm was all rust. And I said, "That rust looks different." And you had to go out that far, And this day, me and Peter was going along, and I said, I was only about half an hour back to the camp and walked back. I said, "I'm going out there," and I got out in summer, and I banged the rock and I threw it to shore. how in the frick do you do? It was a big old boulder, massive copper, lead, and zinc.
Wow.
Just it looked a little bit different to me than all the rest. Right?
Yep. Fellas, this is, I got to tell you, I came to the mining show talking about, minerals and all the excitement that's going around. This is a beautiful story. This is a family story.
Right from Suley Joel.
Right on.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to tell you, we appreciate everything that you've done for this area. Appreciate what you continue to do. The legacy that you're leaving is unbelievable. And it must feel so good, father and son, to be having this conversation together.
I had a conversation with a gentleman last night, and he said, cherish every moment with your dad. I lost my dad at a young age. Yeah. And I watched you together, and it's like, wow.
Fellas, on behalf of our good friends at Raleigh Drilling Services, thanks very much for being on the show. We really appreciate you both. We really do.
More to come.
More to come.
More to come.
Tuned. Stay tuned.
If you ever wondered about newfound gold in this province, Uncle Fred's Rock, right here.
Uncle Fred's Rock, and that's what it was.
Thank you for tuning in to Gale Force Winds. That's Gale Force Winds, WINS.com.